Hey there, posture guys and gals, and welcome back to the show. As always, I'm your host, Justin Archer, aka the Posture Guy, your #1 source on pain, posture, and performance. And today we're going to be going over why most people should not be running. Now, I know the topic of this video post, I'm going to get a lot of flack for it, but let me explain before any kind of hate mail comes in or anything. So let me explain myself, and then at the end of the video post, in the comment section below, I'm totally open to constructive criticism. The keyword there being constructive criticism, all right? So first, let me start off by saying that this is not some vendetta against running. I absolutely love running. I actually ran my first 400 meter race, I believe? One lap, whatever it is. One lap around a college racetrack. Ran that when I was 4 years old. You know, my dad had me in training to running at a young age. I absolutely love running. At 16 years old, I, on three and four separate occasions, ran a 4-minute flat mile, which at the time, I'm not sure what the world record is now, but back then it was 3 minutes, 47 seconds and 53/10 of a second. And a lot of people back then, friends and family, were like, oh, you're only 12, 13 seconds away from the world record. Well, anybody who knows anything about running knows that when you start getting lower and lower in times, like 4 minute, sub 4 minute miles, that can take years to accomplish. So I was happy with 4 minutes. But I never really raced anymore, ran anymore than about 1 to 3 miles at a time, maybe with the exception of when I did the mud run, which if you're not familiar with is an obstacle course. It's a lot of fun. Go check it out. There's probably one like it or one similar in your area. So you see, no one just gave me this t-shirt. I earned it. So let it be said, I love running. Actually, two of my favorite movies, if you didn't catch the post about how to watch TV and movies pain-free, is Prefontaine and Without Limits, which are biographical, not documentaries, but movies about Steve Prefontaine, one of the greatest runners, in my book, the greatest runner to have ever lived. And if you haven't seen those movies and you're a runner, or you call yourself a runner, then shame on you. You should definitely see those movies. But even if you're not, they're great, great movies. So with all that said, like I said, I love running. Here's why I think, though, why a lot of people, I would say most people, should not be running. And that is because a lot of people come to me blaming running for the cause of their pain. And that's where running gets this bad rap on. It's bad for your knees, your hips, your ankles, your feet. Plantar fasciitis, pronation, underpronation, supination, blah, 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 and the list goes on and on. And I see people, coming to me, and I'd say the #1 reason why people should not be running is because they're bringing bad alignment, bad posture alignment into running. So, for example, I have a friend that about 2 weeks ago, week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and if you're watching this, you know who you are, but I won't mention any names, said that she can't run more than a mile because of a previous knee injury, and it'll start hurting, but her ankles have been hurting, and then a few days getting back into running, her hip started hurting. And when I looked at her posture, it was clear as day that, the posture she was bringing into running, that was a big proponent of why she was experiencing the pains, the symptoms that she was. So she was running with her hips bailed forward, out in front of her body. Her knees, which I know you can't see my knees right now, but were pointed inward, and her feet were pointing the opposite direction. And you yourself, if you look in the mirror, may look something like this. And so think about it this way. If you're going to go running, that would be like taking a rear-wheel drive car, like a sports car, muscle car, a Ferrari, something like that, and taking the back wheels, right, which would be like your hips, your upper legs, pointing those wheels inward, and then taking the front wheels and pointing them outward. Well, I don't care if you have a $3, $4, $500,000 sports car. If the wheels in the back and the wheels in the front are pointing opposite directions, it's only a matter of time and not very long until that car breaks down, because it's literally fighting its own mechanics and it's going to pull and break itself apart. Well, the body's the same way. If your hips, knees, and feet aren't pointing the same direction, and your hips, your center of gravity, aren't underneath of you, it's only a matter of time until your body pulls itself apart. And that's basically what happened with my friend. And now she's having, like I said, foot and ankle pain and knee pain and hip pain. And is forced to take ibuprofen and is looking out to seek medical help. So, don't let it get to that point. Be aware of your posture that you're bringing into running. Now, she mentioned something, and this does play a part, is proper footwear. Well, the thing is that, it is important what type of shoes you wear. And I did a post on that, which I'll link to below. My experience, the less shoe, the better. But as much as shoes are important, I think really it's only maybe 5–10% at most of the problem. If you have a properly aligned body and posture, you should be able to go into almost whatever shoe, within reason. You're not going to be running in high heels, I know. But any type of Asics, Nike, Adidas, a five-finger shoe, and run with reasonably good form. Where the shoes make a difference is when you're already a good runner, and then they're just going to make you a better runner, all right? So the shoes do play a part, but it's not the only thing. Now, the second reason why, I think most people should not be running is because most people take running for granted, right? A lot of times I ask people, they go, oh, I'm a runner, I run. And I say, oh, who taught you how to run? And they're just kind of like, what do you mean? Like, I taught myself, I just run. It's left to right, left to right. And don't get me wrong, for that fight or flight response, running should come naturally to us, right? To get away from predators or danger or things like that. But in the term of sports in running, it is a very specific skill that one must work towards to master, okay? Just like Olympic weightlifting or, basketball, anything, it takes practice and repetition and doing things correctly. Because we all know practice makes not perfect, but permanent. And the problem is a lot of people are practicing running with bad form, and that's leading to bad posture and chronic pain and injuries. So you want to make sure, one, that you're bringing a properly aligned body into running and into running shoes, but then you want to make sure that you're practicing proper running technique and form, all right? And I'll admit, I'm not an expert in this. I know just enough to be dangerous, but I can definitely pick out bad form. That's really easy. That's biomechanics 101. And, right now my wife and I are in Vancouver, right? And they talk about it's the walking city, and there's tons of fit people here. You go to Stanley Park or just somewhere on the seawall, or anywhere for that matter. I'm looking out the window right now, and there's people running by and walking by. And as a posture alignment therapist, I love to people watch. And my wife and I will be sitting down, and being married to me, being the posture gal, aka Mrs. Posture Gal, she could even point this out. I'd say out of 20 people running by, only 1 in 20 is actually running with good form, or at least reasonably good form. A lot of people are running and the foot is kind of flailing out to the side, or their knees are turned in, or one arm stationary while the other is moving. These are very easy things to pick out, very big asymmetries and things that obviously you can pick and go, oh, that person's having knee pain, that person's having hip pain. Look how much their foot overpronates. Again, these are just very things that, a lot of times I go, how are people missing this? But it's because they've never been taught differently. They don't know anything different. They think, well, I'm doing the best I can, instead of, well, what if I, again, realign my posture, bring a better aligned body into running shoes, and then I got trained by someone who knows what they're doing. For example, Mackenzie from CrossFit Endurance. He has a book out called Power, Speed, Endurance, which I'll link to down below. And actually, today, if you're watching this Tuesday, what is this, February 4th, my birthday, our anniversary, he's actually on PaleoCon, I'll link to this down below too, is doing a segment on proper running form 101. And he is one of the top minds in proper running form and endurance. So I would highly, highly recommend that you check that out. But yeah, you have to have good form, because athleticism is only going to take you so far. I have another client who's a triathlete, and he does marathons and triathlons and everything. And his posture, like my friend, his hips or pelvis is anteriorly shifted, so it's out in front, but his knees and feet point out. Now ideally we want them pointed straight ahead, but at least his knees and feet are on the same page and they're pointed in the same direction, versus my friend whose knees are pointed in and her feet are pointed out. So for him, granted, he doesn't have the best posture, but one, he also had get tongue-tied there, he has enough skill to work around his postural dysfunctions and compensations, right? Whereas my friend, she's running just for the sheer joy. She's not a professional runner. She doesn't make a living at it. He's more skilled in running, so that's what saves him from more damage. We're working to get his knees and feet point straight, and he knows, if he's watching, when he does his exercises, his knees and feet point straight ahead, and he's a much more efficient runner and cyclist and swimmer and all-around athlete. And that goes for any sport, and let's be honest, most sports include running, all right? So those are the main reasons why I think most people should not be running. But one more is that unless you're like my friend or my client, the triathlete or a marathon runner, most people just don't like to run, you know? I haven't ran consistently for years. I don't plan to. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. I go through waves where I love running to do it all the time, and then I don't. You know, right now I just haven't ran in years and don't really feel like it. I'm not really missing out on anything, because most people run in order to lose weight. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but running is probably the most inefficient way of losing weight. And I'll prove it to you. Look at marathon runners, right? Look at Oprah. She ran a marathon. Now, I love Oprah. She's great, right? But do you want to have the body of Oprah? Look at Oprah when she crossed the finish line. If that's the type of body you want, then, you know, train that way. But what running does, see, is you'll run, and you're burning calories while you run, but you're not really building your muscle. All working out, lifting weights, running, it's catabolic, so it's actually eating muscle tissue away. You need to rest in order to build that muscle up, that anabolic state. Well, runners, they run each day a little bit further, maybe a little bit faster, and your body adapts to it very, very fast. And you'll notice if you ran, say, 5 miles at, you know, a certain miles per hour, a consistent speed, if you did that same workout, you know, 5 days in a row, even in as little as 5 days, your body adapts and it actually starts burning less and less calories. So it becomes efficient at doing that distance. But if your goal is to burn calories in order to lose fat, there's much better ways. For example, diet. And I've talked about this a little bit before on a post, which I'll link to down below. There's going to be a lot down there. Check it out. About an anti-inflammatory diet. And, you know, doing something like that, you know, there's the saying, abs are made in the kitchen. And it's definitely true. Most of our figure, you know, body fat percentage, you know, overall composition is really made in the kitchen, right? You can't out-train a bad diet. Believe me, I wish you could, but you can't. I didn't make up the body, I just play by the rules, you know, that of basically the body. So, you know, you have to eat right. You can't outrun or outlift a bad diet. And a lot of people are, you know, still in the assumption these days that healthy means boring and bland, and that's just not the case. You know, a great resource I would direct you towards is George Bryant from civilizedcavemancooking.com. I'll link to him down below. And, you know, he makes some wonderful, wonderful recipes. I mean, you eat his stuff and, you know, you won't be wanting, you know, beers and coffees and donuts and chocolate bars and everything like that. I guarantee you, it's really, really great stuff. So, you know, diet is key. And then if you are going to run, or for instance, if you are going to work out in order to lose weight, try something shorter duration, maybe 15-20 minutes, but higher intensity, like resistance training, weightlifting, something more along the lines of CrossFit. You can even do some body weight exercises, push-ups, pull-ups, squats, jumping jacks, things like that, but at a higher intensity. Like I said, for maybe only 15-20 minutes, you'll get way, way more out of that as far as fat loss than you will out of running long distances at a moderate to slow pace. Now, don't get me wrong, if you are someone who loves to run, then that's fine. I just find that most people don't, and they just think they have to. But if you love to run just for the sheer joy of it, you love to be outside, you like to get some, you know, vitamin D from the sun and everything, then by all means, you know, run on. Just make sure, like I previously mentioned, that you are bringing a properly aligned body to running, and that you're wearing the best shoes possible, ideally something more minimalistic, and you're using proper running form, okay? Please, please promise me that you'll do that, because, you know, again, if you are someone that loves running, I would hate to see you, to get an email from you, as much as I would, you know, like the business. I hate it when people say something they love, like running, or whatever your sport may be, caused their pain. They're blaming something that they're passionate about, that they love, as the cause of their pain, when, you know, 9 times out of 10, it's just not the case. There's something that you could do to avoid it, to relieve pain if you had, you know, you've noticed from running. Again, there's something you can do about it. The suffering is optional, and you can enjoy running pain-free. And in order to help you, I'm going to put one more link down below to a couple exercises which you can do. So maybe if your posture is just a little bit off, there are 3 exercises. They'll take 3 or 4 minutes to do before you go running next time. Check those out, go for a run, and then let me know in the comment section below how you felt, you know, running after doing the exercises versus maybe you were running, you know, without them, okay? I'd be interested to know. And like I said, if you have any constructive criticism, you know, things you like, things maybe you disagree with, please leave them in the comment section below, and you know, let's all try to learn from one another, because I'll be the first to admit I don't know it all, but you know, everything that I mentioned here today is things I pulled from my own personal experience with, you know, myself, but also working with hundreds and hundreds, I'd say by now thousands, you know, of clients, many of whom are marathon runners and triathletes and everything. Your posture, your overall posture alignment that you bring into any sport, not just running, but any sport, is very, very important. All right? Anyways, thanks for sticking with me. I know I got a little ranty today, but I appreciate you sticking in there with me. All right? Anyways, I look forward to seeing you talking to you in the comment section below, and seeing you inside the next video. Until then, take care and keep moving.